The Chicago Cubs take care of business and just keep on winning, baby. Keep on winning. That's right. And building up that lead back up to 3 games over those vaunted St. Louis Cardinals. And also, on today's episode, we're going to talk about a team, a surprising team that the Chicago Cubs should look to make a deal with here real soon. But first, welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Chicago Cubs Central. I am your host, Mike Jones, here with you again. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode. Appreciate each and every last one of you. Remember that you can be a part of the show. All you have to do is call the number 217-816-5498 and leave a voicemail, or you can write me at cubsbaseball1992@gmail.com. Guess what? The Chi-Town Sports Central family has everything Chicago that you need. We take care of every single Chicago team, every Illinois team, really, because we take care of the Illini also. But listen, all you have to do is type in your favorite team's name and then type in Central after. And of course, we will pop up there on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple. That's right. Bulls, Bears, Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, Illini, the Sky. We take care of them all, baby. We got it all here for you. Please join all of those channels. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, especially to this one if it is your first time. I appreciate each and every last one of you. And also, hey, if nothing else, if you're enjoying this show, if you're enjoying being a part of the C3 fam, Chicago Cubs Central family, then all I need you to do is go ahead and to like, share, and subscribe to this here channel also. And leave a comment below. Let me know if this is your first time watching. Let me know if you enjoyed the episode. If you didn't enjoy the episode, leave me a comment. Let me know what you would like to see better. I appreciate each and every last one of you that are tuning in. So the Chicago Cubs did go ahead and take care of business against the Colorado Rockies. Listen, this is one of those things where it's supposed to happen. This is how it's supposed to be. The Chicago Cubs are supposed to take care of business against the Colorado Rockies. And yes, they absolutely did that. The Chicago Cubs improved to 33-21, and the Colorado Rockies dropped to 9-45 on the season. My goodness. The Rockies, the Rockies struggled obviously throughout the game. There was a couple of moments that they looked like they might be able to score some runs and even take the lead. However, the Chicago Cubs were able to get out of every single last one of those jams that it looked like the Rockies were about to put them in. Jameson Taillon pitched a masterful game. Like I said, and most of our runs, if not all, were scored off of the bat of 2 of our runs. I'm sorry, were scored off the bat, RBI singles or a sac fly from Kyle Tucker. And both scored Matt Shaw hilariously. And Dansby Swanson grounded out in the third, and that scored Ian Happ. So it wasn't a huge offensive scoring output, but the Chicago Cubs did what they needed to do. They took care of business, and they showed and proved that they can win games in multiple ways. So the Chicago Cubs, once again, will face the same Colorado Rockies again on Tuesday, and it's a 7:05 start time. But guess what? This channel will not only have that start time, but this channel will also have the very first live playback call on this channel, man. That's right, the Chicago Cubs live playback. You guys can watch along with me. I will be here throughout the whole game. First pitch is 7:05. Channel start up at 7 o'clock. I'll give you guys the starters, a couple of stats. Join in on the conversation. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have such a good time, and I appreciate each and every last one of you that have set your clocks and plan to tune in. I will be watching with you, along with you, and we're going to have a good time, man. It'll be fun. It will be Cade Horton, who is 2-0 with a 4.440 ERA, going up against German Marquez, who is 1-7 with a 7.66 ERA. So we will see what happens with that. Like I said, obviously we want to see Kate Horton continue to dominate. That's what we're going to be watching, looking for tomorrow. I mean, yeah, in that game. And again, like I said, we're going to watch it together, man. I'm excited to watch this game with all of you, to call this game and to just enjoy each and every last one of your company. So please make some plans to jump in on the live call with me. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be a blast. Now, moving on from that, I did want to talk about one of the big things that's out there, and it's the need for the Chicago Cubs to get some starting pitching. We began this season talking about the Chicago Cubs needing to figure out their bullpen. And we kept talking bullpen, bullpen, bullpen. Starters are fine. Bullpen, bullpen, bullpen. Starters are fine. However, as the season progressed, you began to see starter after starter go down with injury. Again, we are not expected to see um, Shota Imanaga until sometime in early June, which it is May 26th, May 27th, whenever you're watching this. So we know Shota will be back sometime early June. In fact, he is looking to soon, probably as early as this weekend, throw a bullpen session. So with that being said, Shota Imanaga will probably be back, I would say maybe sometime next week, which will be great to see. However, you still have the issue of Ben Brown. And I still do worry that Colin Ray is kind of starting to come back down to earth a little bit. He has not been as head on and as steady as we would have liked to have seen him. I think it might be time for him to return to the bullpen also. So with that being said, the Chicago Cubs really do need to start looking, and I'm sure if Jed Hoyer has an ounce of brains inside of that chrome dome of his, I know he has to be looking and reviewing and seeing all the different starting pitchers that are out there. And we've talked about our Michael Kings. We've talked about our Dylan Ceases. We've talked about Sandy Alcantara's. And we've even, like I said, I've even seen some rumblings out there that if the Arizona Diamondbacks don't get it together, they could look to move on from Zach Gallen. So these are all viable options, right? But there is one surprise team that the Chicago Cubs have not thought about that they probably should take a look at. And I don't think this team has been on anybody's radar, but man, have they been stinking up the joint this season. Even though it's hilarious because they just beat our rival today, in the St. Louis Cardinals. But the Baltimore Orioles, guys, have two pitchers that are headed to free agency. And with the Orioles struggling this season in a loaded American League, I do not see them being able to come back and to rehab this season. And those pitchers are probably going to leave for nothing. So, as we know in baseball, when you have pitchers or you have players that could potentially leave you for nothing, the most you try to do is try to recoup that and get at least something for yourself out the deal. So the Baltimore Orioles recently fired their manager, Brandon Hyde, after their slow start. And like I said, things are just falling completely apart for them, much like it has for the Colorado Rockies. With that being said, like I said, this unit has largely struggled. And like I said, most people were looking at their starting rotation as a part of the major uh portion that would be able to deliver. And again, you just look from a year ago and you look at where they were a year ago and how people wanted them or hoping that they could make a strong push to the World Series last year. However, they do have to make some changes. They do have to figure some things out. And the Chicago Cubs are in prime position with one of the strongest farm systems in the league, rated in the top 3 farm systems in the MLB right now. The Chicago Cubs do have the capital to be able to trade some of their farm pieces, and some of their lower level pieces to potentially get some starting pitching that could help bolster them to the World Series this season. Um, the first pitcher is Tomiyuki Sugano, and then the second pitcher is Zach Eflin. Both of these pitchers are the only 2 starting pitchers on this rotation who have amounted to anything in 2025, and they're both headed to free agency at the end of the season. So here in the next coming weeks, they both will be closely looked at as pitchers that the Chicago Cubs should potentially look at. Um, this campaign, Sugano has been the best out of the two of them. This campaign, he has totaled a 4-3 record with a 3.0 ERA. It's been a strong rookie season from the 35-year-old from Japan. But again, he is a piece that Baltimore could look to move. And again, the Chicago Cubs have a strong connection with the pieces from Japan, and bringing him over, I think, would help this team tremendously. Um, Zach Eflin did just get off the injured reserve list. Um, like I said, and he is the best starter on the rotation. He's pitched well, totaling a 3.13 ERA and a 3-1 record. So like I said, again, if Baltimore doesn't improve with their ace back on the scene, then again, he's also another expiring deal. So Zach Eflin and Sugano are both pitchers that people should keep their eyes on, because the Chicago Cubs could potentially look to move. Could potentially look to move in on both these pieces, either one or the other, or both, and see what they could get, and see what type of deal that they are worried. To they could look to try to make this deal for both, either one or the other of these pitchers, and try to recoup from that. So again, like I said, the Orioles are spiraling. Again, their season right now does not look great. So it could be a potential for the Chicago Cubs to make this deal happen rather sooner rather than later. I mean, like I said, you don't necessarily need both of them. If you can get Eflin, I mean, that shores up a lot of missing steel. And that moves Ben Brown back to the bullpen. So you would look at potentially having Eflin. You would then have Imanaga. You would have Tyone. You would have Matthew Boyd, and then you could honestly, I would keep Cade Horton up. I'm just saying, until he shows you that he needs to go back down, I would keep Cade Horton up. I've seen him battle. I've seen him also look dominant. I think that he's ready to be in the majors. Like I said, Ben Brown probably should go back to AAA and figure some things out, maybe retool and get a third pitch so that he can, figure some things out there. I know he probably would not love that demotion, but again, in order to be a major league starter, you got to have more than two pitches, because if that fastball isn't working, you're going to struggle, and we've seen it from him. But yeah, these two pitchers, I probably butchered the one Japanese pitcher's name. Forgive me. But yeah, I mean, like I said, these are two pitchers the Chicago Cubs should absolutely look at as pieces. And again, the Chicago Cubs have a strong farm system. And then putting Colin Ray back into the bullpen only strengthens up the bullpen, along with everything else. These hitters that we figured out in the bullpen, these guys that are dogs. And again, it just, I think that this would be best to move Ben Brown and Colin Ray back to the bullpen and allow the Chicago Cubs to move forward. Um, yeah, so I mean, obviously, like I said, the Orioles are a piece, but I want to know from you guys below, who else have you guys seen out there that you think might be a tradable piece for the Chicago Cubs that they should go and look at? Again, like I said, the Orioles have not expressed that either of these guys are on the trade market. But again, as we get into June, and then from June into July, into the dog days of summer, it's going to become evident who are the real players and who are the teams that are just floundering. And again, if the Orioles and the Braves don't pick it up, they are both two organizations to look out for that could be trading pitching that the Chicago Cubs could make deals with, and potentially help restock those teams' farm system and give the Chicago Cubs a much needed boost in the starting rotation. But that's my time for today. Listen, I appreciate each and every last one of you. Make sure that you comment below. Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode. Once again, if you subscribe and this is your first time watching, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to this channel. Thank you for tuning into this video. And please like, share, and subscribe. Share with everybody. Let them know that Chicago Cubs Central is the place to be for all of your Chicago news and sports. I appreciate each and every last one of you. Until next time, it's been real. Remember, go Cubs, go. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't forget. Fly that W flag, baby. That's right. That's right. Chicago Cubs did take another series opener. They are 9-0 in series openers at Wrigley. That's right. The Chicago Cubs did their thing. I appreciate each and every last one of you. Until next time, go Cubs, go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.